So before we get to today's video, I just wanted to quickly ask for any of you watching if you could just hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get as many followers as possible just so that I can continue to make more videos and hopefully make a career out of this someday. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll get to the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the Noble Crumb. My name is Jason. So today's recipe is one that I'm really excited to share with you. It is for one of my favorite pies of all time, which is a coconut cream pie. The recipe is super simple, super easy, ridiculously delicious, and I'm really excited to share this one with you. And I just realized I've never done a pie yet on this channel, so this will be the first of many, just fair warning. So let's get started. Here's all the ingredients you're gonna need for my coconut cream pie. And here are the ingredients for the coconut cream pie. So first we're going to start off with our crust. So you're going to need 1 3/4 cups of graham cracker crumbs, a half a cup of unsweetened coconut, a third of a cup of sugar, a half a cup of unsalted butter that's been melted, and a pinch of salt. And we will bake this at 350 for about 10 minutes. Moving on to the coconut custard filling, you're going to need 1 can of coconut milk, which is about 400 milliliters, 1.5 cups of half and half, 5 egg yolks, 1 cup of sugar, 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of butter, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 cups of unsweetened coconut, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and 2 teaspoons of coconut extract. And for our whipped cream topping, you're going to need 1 cup of whipping cream, 4 teaspoons of water and 1 teaspoon of gelatin, 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, and we're going to top it with toasted coconut. Okay, so we're going to start with the graham cracker crust. So I'm going to add in 1 3/4 cups of graham cracker crumbs. There's 1. 3/4. Perfect. And I'm going to add in half a cup of coconut. I'm using unsweetened coconut because we are going to put some sugar in here. So a healthy half cup. Then we're going to add a pinch of salt. Just a little bit there. And then a 1/3 of a cup of white sugar. Here. There's the sugar. And then I've got my half a cup of butter that I've melted down, and you just pour that right in. And then we're going to mix that up. I'm just going to use a fork. And that is literally all I use for the graham cracker crust for my coconut cream pie. Couldn't be simpler. Okay, that's come together nicely. Now we're going to put this in our pie plate. Okay, so I've got my pie plate here. Now, this is my favorite pie plate I use. It's extra deep, so you can add more filling to it if need be. I just love this. The only thing is because it has a thick rim around the edge, it's a little bit trickier to get it kind of up and over, but I will make do because I love this pan. Just gonna pour my crust in there and start making my crust and going evenly around. Some people get really fancy and they'll start using like a cup and all that to kind of move it around. I always just use my hands for everything, so it's rare I'm gonna get super picky about stuff like that, but I usually just use my hand and go all the way around the edge like that, and then just start packing it in there. I don't know. I guess I'm always a little bit more rustic home type pie, so. But I find it comes together really easy. And you're just trying to get it even. Making sure I've got the bottom in there. Pretty good. All right. So it's packed in there pretty good. And it looks fairly even across the board. So now at this point, this is going to go into the oven, 350 for about 10 minutes, and that's all it needs. All right, so it's been 10 minutes and my pie crust is done. So now I'm going to leave this to cool completely. So it'll probably take about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and then I'm going to start making the coconut filling for it. Okay, so we're going to start with making our custard. So I've got a very large liquid measurer here, and I've got my 5 egg yolks in there. Now to that, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to give this a quick whisk just to break up those egg yolks. And apparently spray myself with cornstarch a bit. All right. Perfect. Now to that, I'm going to add my 1.5 cups of half and half. You can use milk. I find if you use milk, it's a little too thin. If you use cream, it's a little too thick. So half and half is kind of that happy medium. So we're going to add that and then give that a whisk just to combine that. By doing it this way, you're breaking up the cornstarch in there without getting any lumps and getting the egg yolks all kind of spread throughout. And that is that. So now we're going to move over to the oven and we're going to start cooking our custard. Okay, so I've got my pot here and I'm going to start using a medium-low heat. So to this, I'm going to add my 1 cup of sugar. And I'm going to pour in my egg yolk and cream or half and half mixture into there. And I'm just going to get my spoon and make sure I get every last little bit into the pan. All right. Now to that, I'm going to add my 1 can of coconut milk. So this is a normal sized can, 398 mils. I'm just going to break that guy in there. Ooh, this one's got a lot of cream in it. Perfect. Okay. So my 1 can of coconut milk. And I'm going to whisk this together to get everything combined. Now, this is a little bit of a labor of love and some patience. Again, when you're dealing with heat and with milk, you just don't want it to scald and burn. So you do want to make sure that you're here and going to be mixing it consistently because, yeah, you don't want to spend all this time and energy and then all of a sudden have this burn on you. And once this heats up, the cream part of the coconut milk that's in there will melt and dissolve into there. You will see some lumps right now, but that's totally fine. So what I'm going to do now is, over that medium-low heat, I'm just going to mix this until this comes to a boil. Once we hit that boiling point, I'm going to switch to using a rubber spatula, and then we're going to let it boil away for about 1 minute. Okay, so my custard is just about to start boiling here. I just checked it and it's doing good. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop using my whisk and I'm going to switch to a rubber spatula. At this point, because we're going to be hitting that boiling point here pretty quick, I just don't want to incorporate any more air into it. So I'm just going to start moving it around with my spatula. All right, so now it's hitting that boiling point and I can already see it starting to thicken, and it's going to thicken really quick. So at this point now, we're going to cook it for about 1 minute, and then we're going to take it off of the heat. And do not stop stirring. And I'm using my spatula all the way down to the bottom, so I'm actually like making sure I'm somewhat scraping the bottom of the pan just so nothing sticks. You can see it's gotten super thick, super quick. It's beautiful. So you can see it's nice and thick. That looks great. So now I'm going to take this off the heat and we're going to add in our final ingredients. Okay, so I've got my custard here. We're going to add our final ingredients. So our 1 tablespoon of butter, you're going to put that in there. And it's a healthy tablespoon because you can never really have too much butter, in my opinion. So we're going to add that. Then we're going to add in our vanilla extract. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 1, 2. For extra coconut flavor, I'm using a coconut extract. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of coconut extract as well. You do not have to use this. You can omit it. But coconut's like one of my favorite flavors going, so that. And then we're going to add in a pinch of salt. So a healthy pinch, maybe close to like a 1/4 teaspoon. And mix all this together. Once that butter is completely melted in there, then we will add in our coconut. It's almost there. Okay, so we're gonna add in our coconut. So about 1.5 cups of coconut. I'm using unsweetened. If you do use sweetened coconut, I would maybe add about 1/4 cup less of sugar when we made the custard. So that's about 1.5 cups. Again, I eyeball it. For this type of recipe, I'll eyeball it. Alright. Adding a little more because I want more. And that's better. Alright, now that this is done, we're going to add this into our pie crust. All right, so here is my pie crust that has cooled. Now I'm literally just gonna dump in my coconut custard straight into there. And I'm glad I'm using my deeper pie plate because this is perfect. All right, I'm just gonna smooth it out. Now, at this point, here is the trick for this. If this sat like this at room temperature with nothing over top of it, you're gonna get a skin forming right over top of this. So you wanna cover it with plastic wrap, but when you're covering it, you want the plastic wrap to literally sit on top of the custard. So pat it right on there. That's gonna help prevent that skin from forming. So now at this point, I'm gonna put this in the fridge. I'm gonna leave it overnight, and then I'm gonna add my whipped cream and stuff tomorrow. But that's that. So this is going in the fridge, but it's that simple and that easy. So into the fridge. Okay, so next up we're gonna toast some coconut just for the topping of our coconut cream pie. So I've got just a pan here. I'm gonna have it on a medium-low heat. And to that, I'm just gonna add about a cup of coconut. For this, I'm using sweetened coconut because I do want some added sweetness to that. So just like that. Now, the trick with this is because, again, this will go, once it starts browning, it will go really quick. So you don't want to leave this, and we are going to kind of continuously mix it. So it'll take a few minutes, but once you start noticing it get brown, it'll brown really quick. So just be a little bit patient. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes and I'm just starting to notice some golden spots here. So that means that at this point it is going to start browning really quick. So this is where I'm going to make sure, again, I'm going to stand here for the next couple minutes and just keep mixing it because it's going to all go brown fairly quick and I don't want anything to burn. This is why we use a medium-low heat. I am at about a 3.5 on the dial of my electric oven. And basically you can take it as dark as you want. Yeah, just make sure as soon as it's done, you have a little bowl or container ready to pour it into so that you stop that cooking process right away. Alright, so for me, this looks perfect. I like it really golden. I don't want to take it too dark and risk any burning. So for me, that looks great. As I was mixing it, I'm literally scooping it from the bottom and flipping it over. Just like that. But that's it for my toasted coconut. So I'm going to pour this into a container and we're going to let this cool off and we'll move on to our whipped cream topping. Okay, so we're going to move on to the whipped cream topping. So I'm going to make a stabilized whipped cream, which means I'm going to use some gelatin. So the reason I'm using the gelatin for this is because I'm going to be keeping this in the fridge for a few days, and I just want that whipped cream to really hold up. So in a little container here that I'm able to put in the microwave, I've got 4 teaspoons of water. To that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of unflavored gelatin. And I'm literally just going to sprinkle that on top of the water. Now at this point, we're going to leave this for about 5 minutes to bloom, which means the gelatin's going to absorb all of that liquid and kind of go into a gelatinous state, and then we're going to melt it in the microwave. So we'll leave this for about 5 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. This is all nice and jellified. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this in the microwave for about 3 to 4 second bursts and mix it until this is dissolved. And you want it to be, it will be in a liquid form because that's how we're going to combine it into the whipped cream. So 3 to 4 second bursts, give it a stir. When all the little granules are dissolved, you're good. Okay, so that took about a total of 15 seconds and it is completely liquefied. Now it is a little warm, so I'm going to leave this for about 1 to 2 minutes just to cool off slightly before I start whipping my cream because we don't want to add anything hot to the whipped cream. So just leave this off to the side for about 2 minutes. Okay, so in my mixing bowl here, I have got 1 cup of really cold whipped cream. So we're going to do this in 2 stages. First, I'm going to add in my sugar. Now, I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons of icing sugar. I personally don't like my whipped cream super sweet. You can always add more, add less, whatever works for you. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So that. Now I'm going to start whipping this just until it starts to thicken a little bit, and then we're going to slowly add in our gelatin. So I'm going to use my little hand mixer here today. And now before I continue, I am just going to give this a quick little taste test to see how the sweetness level is. For me, that's perfect. I'm going to whip this up a bit more. Okay, so this is starting to get thick. So now at this point, I'm going to drizzle in our gelatin mixture. And at this point now, we'll just whip it at a high speed until you get stiff peaks. All right, and that looks great. So now we'll move on to putting this on top of the pie. Okay, so I've got my cream and I've got a piping bag here fitted with a large star tip. So I'm going to transfer this into the piping bag. Today I'm going to try to make this look a little bit prettier. Not always my strong suit, but you know what? Every now and then you gotta try, and if it looks like crap, I'm still gonna show you guys anyway, because that's just the reality of how this stuff works. So, all right. Okay. That is in the piping bag. Now here is our pie that has chilled overnight. So I'm gonna take the plastic wrap off, and you can see no skin, doesn't get stuck on top. That looks beautiful. Get that centered so you guys can see. Okay, so now with my piping bag, and I see my nozzle fell out, so this is gonna be a second. Okay. Oh yeah, why do I do this to myself? Okay, let's go around and we're gonna start piping. I'm just gonna do dollops, because that's about as fancy as I'm going to get today. It's looking good. Hopefully I have enough cream, because I'm starting to wonder at this point. The joys of being an amateur at home. I don't have a whole set of people that can have a finished one in the background. And we'll add another little one there. Try to fill in some of these little gaps. But not too bad overall. The little ridges make it look good. Then I'm going to take my toasted coconut that I have here, and I'm going to start sprinkling this all over the top, which is going to hide some of the sins of my beautiful decorating. But the toasted coconut is just so nice because it's going to add that added crunch, and you're going to get that extra different level of coconut flavor. Oh my god, this looks so good. Alright, that looks absolutely fantastic. You can't see any of my glorious piping that I did, which is probably for the best. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to let this cream set up a little bit in the fridge. So I'm going to transfer this back to the fridge and let it sit for probably a couple hours. And that is the recipe for my coconut cream pie. I really am excited to hear what you guys think about it. Let me know if you guys have any tips and tricks that you guys use in your recipes. I really love to hear about that. And as always, please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. I really wanted just to thank everyone that has been watching. My big goal for this year is to try to hit 1,000 subscribers. And because of you guys, I'm starting off not too bad. I've only been doing this for a couple months. So thank you so much for all of your support. And I really look forward to seeing you guys' comments and chatting with you there. So until next time, thank you so much. We'll see you later on the Noble Crumb. Bye.